Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring the Bloodlines and Black Magic core rulebook. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition powered modern occult adventures RPG, please check out the playlist in the description below. In this video, we finished taking a look at the character classes with the Witch. Want to play the old wise woman who keeps only the company of her trusted cats, adventuring only when it suits you? Do you want to play the shamanic outsider whose connections to a specific goetic spirit grants them wondrous power? You want to play the Witch. As a witch, you will weave the old world's magic, calling forgotten spirits and hidden secrets from the legions of spirits who wander the invisible world. When you are not weaving the old world's magic or communing with the spirits, you might spend your free time exploring the magical connections you can create with your familiar. Over time, while exploring the invisible world and learning magic, you might discover others who share your interest in the path you have chosen. Some witches gather together, forming covens that let them consolidate their power, granting each witch access to a much larger magical cauldron from which to draw even more power. Enchanted and moved by nature, witches often align themselves with the spirits of nature as well, acting as informal guardians of the green. Let's talk about some of the features of this class. You are pretty decent when it comes to hit points. Concerning armor and weapons, you begin play proficient with simple weapons but not armor. You have skills such as crafting, insight, medicine, occult, psychic, and survival, to name a few. When you take your first level in the witch class, you increase your intelligence and constitution score, and your saving throws are also based on intelligence and constitution. As expected, this class is a spellcaster, but you have many other abilities and powers such as arcane knowledge. Your understanding of magic is rooted in the otherworldly realms of the goetic spirits and their servants. When you make arcane connections, you do so by weaving sympathetic connections or aligning dosh. You know how to find the power inherent in things, places, and people. You have a witch's familiar. Long before you learn your first spell, you gain a familiar. This animal appears in all ways like a normal creature of its type, but it possesses a small fraction of a goetic spirit's essence, granting it a heightened degree of consciousness. You also have the Witch's Mark. The Witch's Path is one that is frequently filled with challenges and woes. The mark of a witch is a sign of the strength, the will, and the bond with the goetic spirit with whom the witch has attuned. While myths and stories have always placed the Witch's Mark in hard or inaccessible places, nothing could be further from the truth. Most witches can easily locate this mark at the base of their skull, on the inside of their wrist, or just behind one of their ears. You can, as a free action, touch this mark and immediately sense other witches within a certain distance of you. As a witch, you establish powerful connections and pacts with goetic spirits that offer several benefits. For example, if you make a connection with the entity known as Amy, you learn the spell Find Traps, which you can cast once a day as if you were a 3rd level witch. When you reach 3rd level, you may cast it in a 2nd level or higher spell slot as normal. Once you use this boon, you cannot use it again until you finish a long rest. Learning the spell Find Traps does not count against your number of total spells known. Or maybe you make a pact with the entity known as Bathin. This would give you the spell Prayer of Healing, which you can cast once a day as if you were a 3rd level witch. When you reach 3rd level, you may cast it in a 2nd level or higher spell slot as normal. And these are just some of the benefits of the different pacts. There are plenty others. And you may carry out many things with your familiar. For example, you may establish a friendly connection with a goetic spirit and its legion, allowing one of its legion to possess your familiar once per day. When it does, your familiar gains a bonus to its armor class and all saving throws. As you strengthen your connection, you obtain even greater benefits. Once per day, for example, when the goetic spirit possesses your familiar, the familiar is instantly healed of all damage, Additionally, it obtains temporary hit points. You can even replenish these temporary hit points by spending 1 point from your luck. As a witch, of course, you can create a coven. There are certain requisites, or rather prerequisites, to accomplish this. There must be a minimum of 3 members. All participating coven members must remain within 7 miles of one another. These are just some of the requirements. When all those conditions are met, all members of the coven receive different benefits. For example, each morning, you gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. This resistance lasts until you complete your first short rest. Each morning, you gain temporary hit points, as if you had been the target of the spell False Life. Unlike the spell, these temporary hit points remain until you complete your first short rest, and these are just some of the benefits. As you grow in power, you will obtain even greater abilities. For example, your pact will become stronger, your familiar will benefit more from different bonuses concerning armor class, hit points, attack bonus. You can use a witch's brew with your cauldron, curing all diseases perhaps, also treating poisons. And at even greater levels of power, you obtain capstone abilities such as Hex Master. You have learned to use your magic to create powerful hexes that hinder your enemies and frustrate your foes. When you select this capstone ability, you obtain some benefits. For example, you automatically add the spell Hex to your spell list. Once per day, when you cast the spell Hex, you may force the target of that spell to roll at disadvantage. You must complete a long rest before you can use this again. These are just some of the benefits of Hex Master. You also have Cauldron Keeper. You have spent years working towards solidifying your power within your coven. When the coven sends one of its members out into the world, investing them with all their collective power, that person is you. Each day, when you prepare your spells, you create a special magical link that connects you to your coven's cauldron, no matter the distance, provided you remain on the same plane of existence, of course. You may travel any distance from your coven's cauldron and still access its power. For example, each day, when you prepare your spells, you gain a bonus first level spell slot, a bonus second level spell slot, and a bonus third level spell slot. Also, each day, when you prepare your spells, you gain temporary hit points. These hit points last 8 hours or until they are depleted normally. And these are just some of the benefits of a couple of your capstone abilities. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to take a look at the background and legacy of your player characters. I think that the Witch is obviously a team player. You benefit from having your own coven and working with your familiar. But this doesn't mean that all of the members of the party should be witches. You could have a coven of non-player characters to receive those benefits. And when it comes to your familiar, it is quite flexible and versatile depending on the pact that you make with the different goetic spirits. And because of the temporary hit points granted by different special abilities and powers, the bonuses to armor class to your familiar as well as hit point enhancements, I think that the Witch is one of the sturdiest spellcasting classes in this game. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.